Hey, it's Cesar the God here. I'm just making a quick little video to showcase my server BeyondCraft. I just want to show off some of the features, some of the RPG features that it has. Just make this kind of a quick little video to show, what the server has to offer. Just so if you're a new player, you can just hop in, get a quick start. And if you're just a viewer who doesn't know about the server, you can just get an idea of what you can do. So it's just going to be really quick. I'm going to be moving through menus fast. I'm not going to really explain anything, but I will throughout the video, of course, link to the resources like the tutorial I'm going to show that can show you how to execute the things I'm doing, like changing classes and casting spells. I'm not going to explain how to do it because I have a whole tutorial that will explain it for you, and also, a user guide that explains it as well. So it's just going to be really fast paced because the video would just be so long if I don't make it fast paced. I tried a few copies of it, and every video has been like 30 minutes so far, and it's just, this one's not going to be 30 minutes. So yeah, so you're gonna just zone in. First thing I recommend, just get the server guide, check it out. Simple. You're just gonna want to go and do is to start the tutorial after you check out the guide. Just gonna clear my inventory. It just has some text that'll pop up here. You can just read the text. It explains how to go through the tutorial. I'm just gonna go through a few steps just to kind of show it off. I'm not gonna go through all of them, but for this first step, you just go to tutorial next. I want you to craft a sword. Right, like in the past versions of the video, I was going way more in depth, but now it's just like, I'm just gonna go through it because you gotta keep this quick, right? So you can see it's got RPG stats. The tutorial explains all these stats for you in more detail. We've got the iron nuggets that pop up and just tell you to make some chainmail, right? You can make some chainmail. Boom, bat, bibbity bop, easy. Interact with the slots feature here. Like I'm just speed running the tutorial basically, right? The slots feature just lets you equip up to 11 pieces of equipment, so you can have 7 swords wielded at the same time, right? So if a spider goes up the wall like this, because I took too long, you can make a pickaxe. You've got full build rights in this area. You can craft anything that you have the resources for, so you can do that. And then, you can just mine yourself up a wall. But big brain move would be to just do tutorial back and then tutorial next. And there it is. There's the spider. You can kill him now before he climbs up the wall. And boom. Now it's on combat 102. There's a veteran spider that spawns. It's a little bit harder. Gives a little bit better loot. There's 6 stars in total. Well, there's 6 different star tiers, I guess you could say. I mean, there's 6 monster tiers, but they're represented by 6 different star color and count combinations, right? Not a big deal. You're only going to see, like 1 and 2 star starting out, and then you'll start seeing like the yellow 1 and 2 star, and then the red 1 and 2 stars. And I've got some help for that, right? I think it's rank or something. Let me just see. What is it? Mob rank. There it is, right? So if an admin's online, they can use the topics chat command to just kind of demonstrate the stuff. And there's some additional information. Again, this is all in the guide, so you don't have to read this right now. I'm just kind of demonstrating it, winging it a little bit. So yeah, let's go ahead and exit the tutorial. So as you can see, it's just an RPG server, right? You got levels, you got experience, there's stats. If you check out your class, right, you've got health, mana, stamina, divinity. Divinity restores whenever you kill a monster. And you've got your experience and your levels and your attributes, right? So it's like a full, complete RPG package that you're gonna get. So once you've done the tutorial, you've checked the guide, you're kind of like, okay, this is cool. And you just hop into this portal here, and it takes you to Earth. So the server is PvP, so once you hop in, it is PvP. You get invulnerability for a little bit, which is indicated by this eye over here. Just a note, status effects may not necessarily have a letter that matches up to what you expect. So like if it's a speed effect, right, it's actually internally coded as modify speed. So you'll see an M, right? And so like modify strength, like all the modification type stuff is like modify, right? So just kind of keep that in mind. Status effect letters might not exactly match up to what you expect. But yeah, so you just go ahead, you could just fight monsters. These are level 1 monsters in this area, because just you're starting out in this level 1 area. Players can spawn within a huge area, in the spawn area for the server, and in that area, all the monsters are level 1. If you want to get to higher tier monsters, you have to go about 1,000 blocks out, and I even have little topics for it too, right? Explaining it, right? To get to level 2 monsters, you have to go there. So let's just go ahead and fly really quick. Just kind of demonstrate what I mean. I'll just fly all the way out here, and I'll put my F3 up, right? So you can see you know, roughly once you get past 1,000 right here, right, you can see it'll go to level 2. And further out you go, the higher the level will be. So really straightforward on that. And you know, level 4, you can get the veterans to start showing up naturally, and then you know, like I mentioned, there's some higher star monsters. Whenever it's got a tier, you know, it can cast spells, and that's what I'm going to show off now, right? So you can cast spells with the server. I'm just going to go ahead and show off the Nomad, one of the Nomad spells, just because I think it's neat, right? So build Force Retreat, we're just going to go ahead and cast this spell. Again, not explaining really how to do it. You got to just do the tutorial if you want to, and it builds a little retreat. Now you can see we had a skeleton actually in the location of where I cast it, so he's in the house, you'd have to kill him. But yeah, we got a nice little force retreat right here. Cool, right? Not a big deal. A little bit of farm. It's got this gap because we've got like an anti-suffocation thing for monsters. Whenever they get suffocated, rather than die, they actually just clear all the blocks around them. So that's why you got that gap there. If I just were to cast it a few more times, well, I've got a cooldown, right? If I were to cast it again, it would, you know, fix that, right? But yeah, just a little bit of a starter building there. There's a lot of spells that do a lot of different things. You can build mountains, you can destroy mountains, you know, you can enhance your combat ability, you can buff your stats, you know, you can heal people, you can put bleeds. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, and the server is still relatively new, so this stuff is really going to expand. There's going to be so many more options in the future. I really can't wait. Right now, like you saw, there's only one row of classes, and I'm hoping to have like literally that whole page full of classes in the future. So cool. So now you've seen what is like. There's a lot more that goes on with this, right? There's like land protection and warding, and you know, because it's PvP. There's some PvP death rules. You know, there's no combat logging. Like there's so much more, but I can't just go into all of this because then the video will be like an hour long. So definitely recommend checking out the guide. But yeah, you can see if you join the server, right, you got some pretty neat spells you can use, and you know, you got your RPG stats and such. Alright, so next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead to spawn, right? So we're just going to go ahead and use the /RPG command and then go to spawn. You can see it. We could do /spawn too, but we're just going to go ahead and use the icon just because, you know, we could just click the icon, whatever. And so you have to wait 10 seconds without taking any damage for teleports to work, because that's just kind of how it works, right? Just prevent people from teleporting in combat, or if you wanted to roleplay a trade or something, right? So people don't just teleport instantly away. So yeah, now we've done so let's go show the randomly generated dungeon. So the way that the dungeon system works is that whenever the server starts up, it'll generate a random dungeon, and dungeons get generated every hour and 5 minutes after the last dungeon was generated. But if no one uses a dungeon, right, it won't regenerate a dungeon. It'll just say, okay, the dungeon hasn't been used, so excuse me. It'll just say the dungeon hasn't been used, so the dungeon's still ready, and that'll just be a message. And right now, this is on the right is just the level range. Just as an aside, right, if you want to know about what all of these items on the scoreboard on the right do, it's all in the, you know, the master guide, as I kind of mentioned, right, Beyond RPG guide, and you know, but most of them are pretty self-explanatory. Like for example, guild, right, that's your guild, right. But if you want extra detail, it's all there. But in this case, the dungeon, right, this is the range of the dungeon, and to join a dungeon, you would just hit the sign, you know, teleport event dungeon. So when, like I said, when the server starts up, the dungeon gets generated based on who's online, right? And it's just kind of a random selection based on the levels of people are on, and I've got the details of that in the guide. But it's very fair, and if no one joins the dungeon after 5 minutes, then it becomes open to everybody, and then it just kind of works like this, right? You right-click the sign to join the dungeon, right? And then it just gives a notification saying, hey, you know, Just God has joined the dungeon, right? And it's been activated. You know, everyone else has 60 seconds because this is a broadcast to everyone on the server. Says everyone, you know, there's 60 seconds to get in, so it gives people a chance to come, you know, join the dungeon, so that you don't miss out. Because once the dungeon starts, no one else can join, right? It locks out, right? So, you know, you get welcome and you're in. Just as a random note while we're waiting for 60 seconds, I would say you probably don't want to join a dungeon at level 1. You probably want to get, like, you know, level 20, get some blocks collected, you know, maybe get the 40 strength required to use cobblestone tools and cobblestone swords and, you know, your chainmail armor. You know, just get all that together, put it on, and then once you feel a little bit more geared, I would come and do it. And the reason why is just because, you know, there's going to be a little bit of digging here, and that's just kind of how it goes, right? So once the 60 seconds starts, monsters will spawn. You can, you know, just kind of preemptively start digging whenever you'd like. There's nothing stopping you. You can make a base, so there's a little bit of an advantage if you get in first, right? You can set up a position in the dungeon if you expect for PvP to happen, right? Which is always possible because it is a PvP server. You can't claim land in the dungeon area. That's just kind of how it goes, right? You can't ward any land or anything, so it's just PvP. You know, risk reward type thing. But there's better loot in the dungeon, so that's kind of the idea behind it. So yeah, because I am level 4, you know, I'm level 4, I'm the only person in the dungeon, all the monsters in here are level 4, the area is level 4, that's how it goes, and the treasure chests, which I'm sure I'll find one in a second, right, because there's, oh my gosh, it would be really unlucky to not find a treasure chest here. They have like, oh my goodness, that's crazy. I've never seen it not like spawn a treasure chest here in general site, but let me go ahead and just cheat really quick. Alright, we'll just increase my strength, and then let me do this. Let me reduce my fly speed a little bit, just so I can control it a little bit better. And I just want to show, so the dungeon has a wave system. So after you kill 10 monsters, it goes to the next wave, and then it'll spawn more chests. Alright, here's a chest, right? So it'll spawn with monsters, spawn with loot, and you can see it's all level 4, like the area. And you get some wool, and, you know, maybe some other blocks that can be helpful to you, right? So yeah, that's why you would do the dungeon, and it's just a great way to get level experience and stuff like that. Because, you know, if the world that I was just showing is in the daytime, you actually, you know, can't find any hostile monsters unless you go underground, right? But yeah, it's just really up to you on how you want to do it. Like, the dungeon is just constant source of monsters, because every time you kill a monster, it regenerates a monster. So this is all in its infancy, right? The dungeon generation stuff is all brand new, and I want to do a lot more with it, right? So yeah, that's pretty much the the server. There's obviously a lot more to the dungeon system than I've gone over here, and just for the sake again of keeping the video kind of short, I'm not going to explain too much more. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting dynamics and considerations I've made here. I've made it so that in it's kind of like a semi-safe kind of area. You can like farm and have like a safe base, if you will, and then you want to come do these dungeons that are dangerous to get the good loot. There's like crafting regions you can get that'll increase your weapons, and there's some secret items that I can't even disclose in this video. And yeah, I mean, there's like some really crazy spells in here. I mean, there's just a lot to explore and uncover. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to describe. Thank you so much for your time, and I really hope that this video was beneficial for you, so you could learn a little bit about the server. All right, thank you, take care, and bye.